I crushed you through my own insecurities. Is that common in marriages? Does that happen often?
I think it is. It's more common than not. I think it's just, to admit to it is the hardest part.
I think many people would rather blame than to admit.
Right.
Welcome everyone to another episode of Do the Work podcast. I'm your host AZ Araujo,
and I'm Carla Araujo.
What's going on? What's going on there, Carla?
What's going on?
All right,
today's going to be a good one.
Yeah, we have a interesting topic, and it came about with this text message that you sent me, and it was pretty direct, but there was a lot of lessons from this, and I'm going to go ahead and read it, and then we're going to discuss it. And you simply wrote to me, "You failed us. Truth, I failed to truly see the way I lived my life. I hid behind my marriage to be supported by a human that I crushed through my own insecurities. I blamed you because my world was empty with sadness, disappointment, and insecurities. I had an opinion for everything. I wanted to stop you. I'm sorry. Your only way out was to leave. As sad as it sounds, that's why I asked you to leave. To be honest, I was comfortable being someone I'm not. I actually was fighting the other half of me that made me feel trapped." So again, this was a revelation you sent to me, and at first it was like you failed us. It was a blame game, right? And I think that's what happens in marriages oftentimes, or any situation, is to blame somebody else for our unhappiness,
right?
For the reason we're failing, or the reasons we don't have what we want. It's real easy to just lay blame.
I was constantly blaming you, I think, in every part of my life, from business to physical. I was just constantly blaming you in everything. Every time I failed at something, it was because of you. Every time I couldn't move forward on something, it was because of you. Every time I made a decision and went with it and it all fell apart, it was because of you. It was constantly blaming you, but it wasn't like because of you. I never really said that as much as you can in my actions. Is where it showed the blame
your
game.
actions. Yeah, you never really said it because it was always in your. I always felt bad, and that's why I didn't really, really ask you to do a lot of things with me, because I felt that, it would be my fault if we did fail.
Right.
But one of the things that you mentioned was how you bringing it back to yourself, right? And I think a lot of marriages can get repaired by that alone, is bringing that whole notion of how am I showing up myself in this, and that's one thing that you mentioned this here in this text was it's real easy to blame you as you failed, because I did. There's many things that I did that I failed our marriage, that I failed my family, but it really came down to how you allowed yourself to kind of be sheltered or put into this box of just a wife and a mom, right?
Right.
So how would you explain, like somebody being in that place, how would you show them or tell them how
I
to
always
get out?
the way I approached it. The way I approached it was, what would I be doing if you weren't in the marriage with me, if we weren't married? Well, how would I approach life with you, without you? And I think that I hid behind you because I was going through so much, and I didn't realize that, the battles I was fighting. So when you came in, you kind of, I guess, took that role, the alpha role, obviously.
Yeah, I'm going to shelter you. I'm going to protect you.
Right. And you didn't really say that. It was just in your actions. So I allowed myself to be controlled in a sense without you not even knowing you were doing that. You always wanted to provide and love and care for me. And I love you for that. But I kind of stepped down a little bit, and I was like, okay, well, I have somebody who's taking care of me. So somebody who is speaking on my behalf. And I didn't realize I was just being sheltered and I was hiding behind you. And in reality, that really wasn't me. That's not me. But I didn't know how to step out of that because I was so insecure. And I didn't want to fail us. It was okay for you to fail us, So, but when I would feel like I wanted to fail, it was just like you were going to say, Carla, why? So I didn't want to handle that. I didn't know how to handle that. So I just hid behind you for many, many, many years. And I was okay with that. So I was okay with being somebody I'm not. I was okay behind. So when I would go out to the public, I was that person. And that's kind of where it stood.
Now, when you say like this, you said, I blamed you because the world was empty with disappointment and insecurities. But here you said, I crushed you through my own insecurities. Is that common in marriages? Does that happen often?
I think it is. It's more common than not. I think it's just, to admit to it is the hardest part.
I think many people would rather blame than to admit
right,
to
to admit to it. But I was crushing you. I was taking you away from a lot of things you wanted to do. I held you back in a sense because I always argued and I always fought against everything that you wanted to do. I was like, well, and I would always come up with something that made you think twice. All because I was insecure. I didn't want you to move forward on something because I was going to be involved in it.
Right.
So there was just a lot of things, especially you. I mean, I remember the first time you came home, you wanted to start recording live videos. You wanted to create all this content that we were going to throw our lives out there. And I'm like, I'm not ready for that. And then I started bringing the kids into it. Like, do not put my kids on camera. Do not put myself on camera. So you were like, okay, well, I'm going to do this on my own. And that's kind of where it started, where I was like, wait a second, I need to stop him. And I didn't really tell myself I need to stop him, or I didn't tell you that. It was just in my actions that I didn't realize what I was actually doing.
I'm going to resist more,
right,
and make a bigger issue out of it.
Because
don't put me in there. I don't want to talk about it. Don't put my kids.
I was just starting arguments, just random arguments.
And it's interesting you say that
to
because
throw you off track.
I recently had a conversation along those lines with another gentleman, and he was saying like, hey, like I'm constantly encouraging my wife to do these events. To go out there so we get physically fit together so we can do this, that, or the other. And it seems like she the more I tell her, can you turn that up? For some reason, it went down. For one reason or another, it creates more friction within our relationship. Every time I try to encourage her, it ends up in an argument. And, my advice to him was like, don't worry about her.
Right. And I'm glad that you gave that advice because it's so true. When you were given that advice yourself, you wanted me involved with you, and I just couldn't. So I didn't realize this. I was so insecure, and I didn't want to fail. I didn't want to, let's be honest, I didn't want to look stupid.
Right.
I didn't want to look stupid. Let's be honest. I wanted everything to go right, and I knew everything was going to go wrong. So, when you would say, let's do X, Y, and Z, let's create this content and go live and do this video, I'm just like, no. I was just fighting against it without even telling you no. I would tell you something that it's not going to make sense, AZ, if we do this. And so I was fighting constantly coming up with something. Because if I really sat there and thought about it, like I was so insecure of feeling rejected and stupid behind it if it all failed, and I was going to come with you.
Well, I think that's why most people just don't do the things that come to them. If it comes to your mind, it means it was supposed to happen, right? But for one reason or another, we start thinking, how am I going to look? It's putting me outside of my capacity. That's why it makes us uncomfortable. So and back to this example, like my advice to him was like, don't worry about her. Here's the thing, because it's real easy. It's easier to say something negative than to say, that's a great idea, let's go do it. Because when you have to do something that's outside of your capacity, right? Let's say he's pushing her to do a marathon or pushing her to do a live video. It's easier to say, no, that's dumb. How is that going to help this, that, or the other, than it is to say, okay, let's do it, because you may look stupid. You do have to grow outside of your current capacity. So that takes effort, and you might get beat up,
and no
right?
one's going, and you're not going to have, at least for me, I didn't come out and straight out and tell you, hey, I'm insecure.
No.
And I don't want to look stupid, because all I knew, if I would said that out loud, you would have come back and gave me your coaching.
Oh no, you're so good.
You're so good at it.
Smart.
It's like a little child when they tell the mom, they're picking on me, I'm ugly, and the mom's gonna be like, no, you're beautiful. You're the most beautiful thing I've created. It's like, I get it.
Yeah.
It's coming from you. It's just like, okay.
So it's better not to sit there. Like, yeah. So that goes back to that. It's not like, don't try. You all you can do is invite, but they don't want to be coached.
Definitely.
Like, you didn't want to be coached.
No.
But what you did, because I remember there was a time when I was telling you, hey, babe, like this book is awesome. You should read it. And you were like, hey, babe, you should meditate. And you were like, meditate? You go meditate.
I was like,
right?
You have problems, not me.
Hey, let's go do this. Yeah. So it was always constant resistance, right? As I was trying to change my outlook on life, change my entire viewpoint. I was trying to like coach you through, babe, you got to read this, you got to do this, let's do this together. And you weren't ready for it.
And I love it, because the best thing you did, the one of the things that you did was you left completely. You were just like, you know what? I remember, and going back, it was a little argument we had, and I remember the hallway. You were like, hey, you know what? I'm going to continue working on me, and doing everything that I said I'm going to do. Good luck, kind of deal. And you left me. You literally left me, and I remember sitting there in tears, and I'm like, wait, he's not coming back. So it's just, we started slowly separating. But I love that you did that, because it made me think for myself on what I really wanted, and I had to fight for that. I had to go out and fight for that and really start asking myself these questions like, what am I doing? This feels so uncomfortable. And I'm constantly fighting the other half of me that was just trapping me. So every time I would want to go with you, that other half of me was like, no, you're not good enough. Oh, they're going to laugh at you. Oh, look at how stupid you're going to look. So I'm like, I would be pushed back. But for me to come out and tell you all that, you'd probably look at me like, what's wrong with you? Like, and then you would start with the coaching thing. And I'm like, you don't get it. And I always wanted to, and I think I told you that several times. You just don't get it. And you didn't.
And I think that's what, a lot of men, I hear them, I'm so supportive. I'm so supportive of my wife, whatever she wants to do. But the thing is like you're treating her like if she was a child, or she needs this coaching. She doesn't need a coaching. She just needs, like, you go do what you're supposed to do.
Right.
Regardless of the resistance you're seeing. Here's the thing. Of course, the whole point of going is to realize that you will stick by your word. If you're constantly saying, hey, you should do this, you should do that, you're really taking away from what you should do for yourself. And one of the things that I told him was like, just do you. You keep on showing up. You keep doing your competitions. You keep on showing up powerfully with your marketing. One of two things are going to happen. She's either going to rise with you or she's going to get further away. At least you know. But staying in this place of comfort, you'll just learn to live within that mediocrity, right? And it's holding each other back.
Yeah.
So you either got to keep going to determine, is she coming with or is she not? Or vice versa.
In a
is
lot
he
of
coming with or is
marriages,
he not?
that's what happens with a lot of marriages. They just kind of separate. They start to lose. They file for divorce. The wife's thinking the husband is going way too far and no longer loves her and has any compassion for her anymore. And then the husband's feeling like, wait a minute, my wife has been holding me back all these years. She's not going to support me in the things I need to do. Because every time the man fails, it's kind of like everything's on him. So he's feeling like, I'm fed up. I'm fed up that every time I want to take a chance at something and it falls apart, you throw that in my face. Or when the woman finds out, like, wait a minute, I am a powerful woman and I'm going to rise up. All of a sudden, the man's not supportive.
Yeah, all of a sudden,
you're supportive up to one point because you don't think she's going to take it that far.
And when she does,
and that's what happened with us.
Yeah.
I took it extremely far because I'm like, wait a minute, I'm going to own my life and run it as if you were not existence. Because and what I mean by that was, I love you, I respect you, you're my husband, you're everything to me. But I love myself more, so I had to rise up and see if you were going to step back.
Yeah, and you did. There was a time where I was constantly encouraging to go, and then it came to a point where you didn't, like, you kept going, and it kind of created an insecurity of me of like, where's she going without me type of thing, and I did try to now resist, like try to create resistance in your way so you wouldn't move as far. And again, that happens. It's like sometimes our spouses are our own worst enemies because you bring each other down because you're not ready to grow, right? And the whole point of actually growing is when one person's willing to take a stand and continue to move forward with or without that person.
Right.
And obviously, the whole key to this is that the other person will rise. And it could change. It could go from you rising and me trying to hold you back to me rising and you trying to hold me back. But the thing is, we do not allow each other to hold each other back, period. One of us is always strong enough to continue to move that path. Otherwise, we would be comfortable. We would be in that marriage. We would be 40 pounds overweight. We would make average money. We would not grow our businesses. And if we look at a lot of marriages, it's they hold each other back.
And it's just a simple stuff, AZ. It's the simplicity of like just sticking questions in the other person's head. And I'm going to give you a couple of examples. I remember where there was times that I had to go to the gym before I owned my own gym. I had to go to the gym late at night, and then you would question like, "Why are you leaving so late?
Yeah,
where are you going?" And I'm like, "Well, I have to work out. It's 10 o'clock at night, but this is the only time I have." And you're like, "Well, what time are you going to be home?" And it was like, it was just questions. And so
Yeah. Giving you a hard time.
and just in a sense, giving me, questioning me, and things that you knew where things were going, but you were constantly questioning that part.
Yeah.
Or me walking around with my prep meals, or just anything, or me wanting to move forward in the business. Getting something accomplished and getting it done. It was always a question from you, like, wait a minute, did you cover this, this, and this? And it's like, I don't need to constantly ask you for permission.
Yeah.
So that's kind of the way I felt. But I had to take control of my life. I had to move forward with you or without you. And so I think a lot of times we wait for the other person to give approval.
Yeah.
And I don't wait for that approval. I don't need anyone's approval. I know what I'm doing. I know where I'm going. And if it fails, it fails. We both failed. It's not just me. If you fail, it's like, okay, we both failed. So it's taking control and standing, in your power, and just knowing what you want. And
It's
overall,
key.
it is the key. I can't
It's key to
I
this.
couldn't constantly keep looking at you, waiting for approval.
It's really easy to blame our spouses and say, my marriage is not working because of these reasonings. And there was a time where I was very condescending, I would almost talk to you in a belittling type of format. And, filing divorce, you could easily say, well, he was very condescending and everything, very belittling. He talked down to me. He did all the, okay, yes. But I think there's another, is how does the other person show up? If they're showing up weak, like you get to be treated almost weak by everybody, right? You get run over, you get walked on. It just so happens, right? And I hear this a lot. My wife talks to me this way. My husband talks to me this way. But have we ever really looked at the entire situation and said, how am I showing up to this? Because I've allowed it, right? You've allowed it for so many years. And I remember, and I would do it not knowing, talk to you in a certain format, not knowing I was talking to you that way. It was because, well, you lack the confidence, you lack the certainty within yourself, and it happened that way, right?
Right.
But until you started taking a stand for yourself, and you wouldn't like, anytime I spoke to you in a condescending manner, you would like correct me right away. I was like, oh, I didn't even think I was talking to you that way, and I was.
Right.
But it really came down to you really embracing your certainty and embracing who you are, and not allowing certain ways to be spoken. Like, we saw this whole argument in the parking lot, right? At the volleyball game for Madeline. And we were just sitting there. We were in our cars, and we were just sitting there. And there was this husband just
They're
really...
literally right. It's not like we were being nosy. They were literally right in front of our car.
Or-
Like if this was the norm.
Yeah.
They were in front of our car having this humongous argument, but if it was the norm. So to us, it was like, they're yelling like everyone could hear them. But to the man and the woman, as they were arguing, it literally was the norm to them. That's normal.
Yeah, it was he was talking to her. He was talking down to her, and she was like, just taking it like it was a normal day
Right.
in the relationship. And then she bust out like these big hamburger, and they started eating, like, and yet they were both like, they were obviously not healthy conscious, right, to say
Right.
it in a nicer way. But that's what happens. The frustrations are hitting within vices, whether it's alcohol, whether it's food.
Well, and
whether
I
it's
remember we had this because the man was eating a hamburger and a slice of pizza or something. And then comes the woman, and the man's yelling at her from quite a distance,
Yeah.
saying, "Where were you? I was waiting for you to eat," as
Yeah.
he's biting onto this hamburger. And the woman's like, "I was trying to find a parking spot." So they're yelling at each other from a distance, and in a really rude way. So when they get to each other, they're on this, I guess this pony wall, and they're eating as they're arguing. So I look at you and I'm like, I really want to know. It has nothing to do with her parking far. I really want to know. This issue goes way deeper than her parking far and, them waiting for each other to eat
but
a
they
meal.
find the comfort within certain vices.
Right.
So here's the thing, guys. Like, Carla, you're holding an event April 26th and 27th. And a lot of people think that it's only about, if you need to find your confidence, no, it's more beyond that. It's really going back to who you truly are, right? And one of the things that you do is about finding confidence within yourself. When you feel good, when you look good, you want to operate at a high level. Part of this, and the day one of this, is really learning the behaviors or dysfunctions that are keeping you back from reaching the physical shape you want to get, having the body you want, having the mental capacity you want to be able to dominate the day. So tell us a little bit about, like, what does day one entail?
Day one's we're going to be working on health and
On health.
physical.
Physical
We'll have
fitness.
certain discussions on health, on if you're, overweight and you can't lose that weight, if you're
What's
stressed
causing?
out, and
Yeah,
what's
like
causing the,
is it the marriage that's causing the stress? Is it
There
mediocrity?
could be so many other, areas that we haven't touched, or you haven't really realized that, hey, this is the reason why I am in the same, weight part of it, where I'm gaining constant weight or I'm not getting enough sleep. There's so many things that go into weight gain. It's not just you eating right. It really isn't.
It really is. Or exercising for long hours.
And I've heard this. As a matter of fact, I had a conversation yesterday. I exercise and I put in long hours of cardio and I'm not losing weight. I'm like, and I really want to tap in and be like, it's not about the cardio you're putting. There's so much more that has to do with you not losing that weight, or playing the yo-yo dieting, or hiring all kinds of nutritionists and trainers, and them not really touching the area where it needs to be touched, of like, what is really going on that you keep playing this yo-yo thing. So day one is going to be intense. There's going to be multiple exercises that I'm going to show you that you can do at home, you can do in your office, or if you're confident enough to go into the gym, I'm going to show you how to lift and how to truly get that, that power that you need through the physical activity.
So your philosophy is like, you feel good about yourself internally, externally. You're going to operate differently in your marriage, in your business if you own one. You're going to be able to take a stand for yourself in different relationships that you're in. And that's the key to all this, right? It all starts with taking care of self first. So day one, you're going to put them through different crucibles, different experiences that'll really shine the light of what are the dysfunctions that continue to come back at them. Because this whole idea of, hey, I lost all this weight, well, that's great. But the story has been, you're losing the very weight you gained 6 months ago, which is the very weight you lost 6 months before that, to only have it gained 6 months before that. So it's like constant, this is the same weight that you're losing, as opposed to really get into the physical shape you really want to.
This isn't new, AZ, that I'm bringing today to do the work. I've ran several physical coaching programs.
Yes.
So it's not new. I've been doing it for a couple of years now. And it works. It works, and I just see the phenomenal results in women that come back and they're like, I've gained more muscle and I'm powerful and I'm this. And I'm looking at them like, you haven't changed a bit, but your mindset has changed. And that is what's the most powerful tool, is your mindset. But, I see some of the women just struggling to lift weights, and I'm like, there's more to it than you just going to the gym and lifting weights. It's like, it empowers you. It just feels so good to think that you are not capable of the next exercise, of the next rep, of the next set. And here I come. Yes, you are. Yes, you are. So it's just like, wow, like you have no idea that empowerment that it brings. And it's just all in the mind. And it's not something that like I said, I've been just, a couple of here and there. No, I've been doing this for years.
You put a lot of people through these programs. And I'm going to tell you something. We just had a survey of some of past clients, and also people that attended the women's event, some of the people that attended the Fit in 12. And it's amazing the kind of responses we're getting, where people are truly making more money. They're taking a greater stand for themselves. They know what direction to move in, right? They feel more powerful than ever. And they feel like that this is what really shifted them from the dysfunctional behaviors of the yo-yo diets, which meant yo-yo marriages, yo-yo, businesses. It all ties in. If you could create certainty and stability in one aspect of your life, it's easier to implement it into the other facets of life than having no stability anywhere. Right. So those are the key components. Guys, like, I'm going to encourage you to sign up for this 2-day event that will, like, if you've been in this place where you've wanted to lose weight for many, many years, but can't seem to get there, right? Or don't know what to eat and when to eat it, don't know what kind of foods and vitamins and things of that nature will give you the power and the energy to keep going. Like, you must attend this event with Carla, and it's a Do the Work women's event.
And I'm also being asked if they have to come to day 2, and you do. Day 1's going to be physical mindset breakthroughs. It's going to be amazing. But day 2 is very much important because that's where our discussion is going to start.
And this is going to be a little different. It's going to be a more intimate event, right? We only have limited seating because it is going to be intimate. So you're going to come out of this entire experience with exactly what to do and how to move forward and when to do it. You're going to have that coming out of this. So it's not like it's going to be a lot of hype and not have a game plan. The whole point of this is to really get down to what you need to do, what you need to change in order to get to things that you want in your life, whether it's to stay in a marriage, whether it's to get out of a marriage, whether it's to stay in a relationship, to get out, whether it's to get in a better shape, or just to make more money. It's about getting that certainty and that confidence, and what Carla goes through will work on all aspects of that.
Yes, it will. It's completely. It's not. I think the ones that attended my event the first time, this is definitely a completely different.
Yeah, it's going to be more intimate.
It's going to be more one-on-one. So we do have limited seating. I am closing it soon because I don't want the huge group. I'm not there, and I'm not there to save you from anything. I'm simply there to have a discussion with you, to see what is missing, what you're looking for, mentally, physically, financially, what is stopping you. Through literally sharing all of me and the steps I took.
The steps that you took, which is very important.
But this is going to be the one-on-one. So again, it is limited seating, and I am closing it soon because the last event was good.
It was too big.
It was just too big.
It was too big, so. and there was a lot of unfinished business. It was too big, and Carla, we went back to the drawing board and we said, okay, so do we want to go bigger on this or do we want to go deeper? And that's what we decided. We want to go deeper because we want to see the life-changing, the life changes from these individuals that will last a lifetime. And if we can go one-on-one with these individuals, you'll get what you want from your body. You'll get what you want from your relationships. You'll get what you want from your businesses if you own it, or from just, any situation you're in. And I love that you decided to go this route, that it's going to be intimate. It's going to go deep, but it's going to challenge them physically to a point where they make life changes. Like right. How they are today, 6 months from that point, that they're going to be in greater physical shape, a greater mental shape.
It's right? A step further that you need to take to make those changes. Again, I'm not going in there as a no savior. I'm just showing you one step that you need to take it a little further to get where you need to go. There's so many... we're all just faced with completely different challenges. So what you're looking for, come out and check it out. Let's talk one-on-one. We won't know what you're looking for until we have that conversation and really start dissecting to things that need to be, getting into in a deeper level. Yeah. So it's not like you're going to walk in there and say, I'm saved. It's like, no, it's not.
You'll have a path at least to be able to figure the things out. So again, the women's event is the 26th and 27th. Go to dothework.com/women's event. At the very minimum, go in there and just sign up for the updates. There's a section in that webpage where you can sign up for updates. And Carla, you've been sending workouts. You've been sending just tips and tricks of things to do to keep you in your power.
And this event is also for all women, not just one specific woman in an industry. I've been messaged on a lot on that. Is it just for real estate agents? Because I own a brokerage, AZ & Associates. It's not just for agents. As a matter of fact, my last event, I didn't have many agents in there. So it's not just for agents. It's literally for all women, women that want to be challenged. So that's what it is. And just want to get to know me more. I have a lot of those messages. Hey, can we talk? This is a time. You want to meet me? Come on out. Sign up for the event. But I want to say this again. It is for all women in all industries, not just in real estate.
Exactly. So right now there's an early bird special. So take advantage of that. Go to dothework.com/women's event and sign up for the updates, but also sign up for the event. It's going to get you what you want. No need to wait one more year. No more waiting for one day. It's like it begins today. It starts today, and it starts by you signing up and getting in contact, and there's going to be a lot of one-on-one conversations. The amount of, what you do, you pour yourself out there, Carla. You put everything on the line because you really want to see changes within your clients, within these women. So I'm going to encourage you, for the cost, you will not get anything. You're going to get a complete workout, nutrition, which that alone covers the cost of the entry. But the time you will spend with Carla for 2 complete days is going to be life-changing. So I'm going to highly encourage you. If you're a man, if you're watching this, forward this to your spouse or your wife. If you are a woman watching this, go to dothework.com/women's event and sign up. You will not get a more comprehensive training than what Carla has going on April 26th and 27th. I know this, and I can say it with a lot of passion because I've seen the changes you've made to your clients' lives. So I am one of those individuals that knows the power you possess to just show perspective and make the changes so that you can get what you want, Carla. So I'm looking forward to seeing it and participating as much as you'll allow me for this women's event. But
A little bit,
I
just a little
love
bit.
I love what you got planned already, and it's going to be something that is a life-changing experience.
Well, thank you.
All right, guys, that's all we got for this episode of Do the
the
Work
Work
podcast. Thank you again for joining us, and we'll talk to you
Soon.